Last year, I celebrated the 55th anniversary of the sci fi classic Star Trek. I talked about the original series, the animated series, and the first four movies in the film franchise. Now let's talk about Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. But is it really that bad? Or am I gonna have to give this some good old fashioned Big D justice? Well, I'm going to say very unlikely. Watch this review and you'll find out why. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name's Doohan, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1989 sci-fi flick Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, released by Paramount, directed by William Shatner, and of course it's the fifth film in the Star Trek franchise. Starring Shatner along with Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelley, James Doohan, Walter Koenig, Nichelle Nichols, whom we sadly lost not so long ago, but I'm dedicating the next video to her, and George Takei, plus several others. Now, if you haven't seen my reviews for the first four Star Trek films, I advise you to click on that card right there, and you'll go to my playlist so you can catch what you might have missed or see them again. Or you can also see my vids on the Star Trek TV series and the animated series. Anyway, this takes place shortly after the events of the last film, The Voyage Home. The plot follows the crew of the USS Enterprise A as they confront renegade Vulcan Sybok, who is searching for God at the center of the galaxy. Now, Shatner developed the initial storyline after his co-star Leonard Nimoy had directed the previous two films, in which Sybok searches for God but instead finds a devil. His primary inspiration was the phenomena of televangelism and the high potential for fraud among its practitioners. Well, many involved objected to the script and plot. Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, didn't like the original script, and Nimoy and DeForest Kelley objected to the premise that their own characters of Spock and Dr. McCoy would betray Kirk. It went through multiple revisions to please the, the cast and Paramount, including cuts in the effects later and climax of the film. Yeah, so it took some time, but anyway, Jerry Goldsmith, who composed the first Star Trek film, returned to score this. Now, though the film did have the highest opening gross of any Star Trek film at that point and was number one in its first week, but its grosses quickly dropped in subsequent weeks. This film got mixed and negative reviews by critics, and according to the producer of the film, Harvey Bennett, it's because this nearly killed the franchise. For now, let's get into the story. The crew of the newly commissioned USS Enterprise A are enjoying a short leave after the Starship's shakedown cruise. At Yosemite National Park, Captain Kirk is camping with First Officer Spock and Dr. Leonard McCoy. Their leave is interrupted when the Enterprise is ordered by Starfleet Command to rescue the three human Klingon, and Romulan diplomats taken hostage on Nimbus 3, a planet set aside as a neutral location to advance dialogue between the Federation, Klingon Empire, and Romulan Star Empire. Learning the Enterprise's mission, the ambitious Klingon Captain Claw decides to pursue Kirk for personal glory. Just a second, everyone. There we go. On Nimbus 3, the Enterprise crew discovers that a renegade Vulcan, Sybok, who is Spock's half-brother, is behind the hostage crisis. Sybok reveals that the hostage situation was a ruse to lure a starship to Nimbus 3, which he intends to use to reach the mythical planet Shakari, the place where creation began. The planet lies behind a seemingly impenetrable field known as the Great Barrier around the center of the galaxy, and Cybok uses his unique ability to reveal and heal the innermost pain of a person through the mind meld to subvert the hostages and crew members' wills. McCoy's pain is that he had helped fulfill his terminally ill father's request to die, only to later find that a cure could have saved his father's life, which caused McCoy years of guilt. Spock's pain is the knowledge that his father rejected him at birth because he was too human. Only Spock and Kirk prove resistant to Cybok's influence. Spock is unmoved by the experience, and Kirk refuses the Vulcan's offer, telling him that his pain is necessary to make him human. Cybok reluctantly declares a truce with Kirk, realizing that he needs his leadership experience to navigate the Enterprise to Shakari. The ship successfully breaches the Great Barrier, pursued by Klau's warship, a Klingon bird of prey, and discovers a lone uninhabited planet. So Cybok, along with Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, take a shuttle craft to the surface, where Cybok calls out to his perceived vision of the Creator. An entity appears representative as a large face, and when told of how Cybok breached the barrier, demands that the Enterprise be brought closer to the planet. When a skeptical Kirk asks, "What does God need with a starship?" the entity attacks him in retribution. The others discover that the Creator has deceived them and that the barrier is in fact intended to prevent from escaping Shikari. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and give you the ending. So if you haven't seen this movie, then you better go through it. You have 5 cents, but you have seen the movie. Consider it was a big disappointment. Keep going. Sorry about that. But alright, you've been warned. Horrified by his naivety, Cybok sacrifices himself in an effort to combat the creature and allow the others to escape, intent on stopping the entity. Kirk orders the Enterprise to fire a photon torpedo at their location to little effect. Spock and McCoy are beamed back to the ship, but Claw attacks the Enterprise before Kirk can be transported aboard. The vengeful entity reappears and tries to kill Kirk before the Klingons destroy it in a volley of disruptor fire. Kirk is beamed aboard the Klingon ship where Spock is waiting. General Cord orders Claw to stand down and to apologize to Kirk for his actions. After the crews of Enterprise and the Klingon ship celebrate a new detente, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are permitted to resume their shore leave at Yosemite. End of story. So what did I think of Star Trek V: The Final Frontier? Well, I'm going to say that while I can't really defend this film, I'm going to say it's okay. It's not really the best film of the franchise, but anyway, again, a lot of the critics were not thrilled with this film and what have you. And well, no, there were just some stuff that everybody was thrilled with, which even with Shatner's direction during action sequences weak. Let's see, and one said that the second half of the film felt directionless, and also that it showed flashes of the humor that propelled in the last film, and stuff like that. The special effects were generally considered poor. Yeah, I agree that the effects weren't really great. And well, some even blamed this for opening during the summer of '89 from instead of it being released during the, how should I put it this way? Um, oh dear. Instead of like Thanksgiving week and what have you. So says one. Yeah, Consider a critical and commercial failure. The poor performance of this film only went on to make 63 million worldwide and jeopardized the production of the features. But Bennett was given the go-ahead to begin work on his own prequel concept that would have cast new actors to play the main cast at Starfleet Academy. But anyway, and soon Paramount instead wanted another film with the original cast, and Bennett decided to leave. And so Nicholas Meyer, who directed The Wrath of Khan, returned to direct the last movie starring the entire original cast in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, which did much better. So anyway, yeah. Now, of course, aside from our usual main cast, William Shatner as Captain Kirk, Leonard Nimoy as Spock, DeForest Kelley as McCoy, of course, James Doohan as Scott, George Takei as Sulu, Walter Koenig as Chekhov, and Nichelle Nichols as Lieutenant Uhura. We have Lawrence Luckinbill playing Cyborg. Now, originally, Sean Connery was contacted to do this, but he was busy with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which was released the same year this was. Actually, almost right about the time this even came out, too. They also had David Warner, Charles Cooper, and Cynthia Gao playing the Federation, Klingon, and Romulan ambassadors to Nimbus 3. Yeah. So those were okay and what have you. But again, and while I do appreciate Mr. Shatner's direction and what have you, he did alright. Not as good as what Leonard Nimoy gave to us in the previous two films, but that he still did an okay job. But however, I was happy that they brought Jerry Goldsmith on board to do the score. That's one that's probably one thing that saves this film. But overall, this isn't really the best Star Trek film, unfortunately. But would I recommend it? Well, no. Unless you are a hardcore Star Trek fan or completionist, give it a one-time watch. But if you're not interested in this film, then avoid it and go on to The Undiscovered Country, because I've seen that and that's a much better film. So anyway, yeah, just stay away from Final Frontier unless you're a completionist. And again, that means if you are a hardcore completionist, give it a one-time watch. So anyway, what are your thoughts on Star Trek V: The Final Frontier? Please tell me in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. And next time I'll be bringing to you a review of that sixth film, The Undiscovered Country. So thank you for watching, and if you like this, consider checking out some of these other films and what have you. In the upper left-hand corner is one of the films I was just talking about, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The upper right-hand corner is my re-review of the original Star Wars, aka Episode 4: New Hope, which turned 45 not just a few months ago, this past summer. Or if you would like to go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my review of the last film, my re-review of the last film in the Star Wars franchise in Rise of Skywalker from 2019. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc. Then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.